All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Talk to the World. I am Be Myself, and I want to talk about what I've been noticing on YouTube and how I think it relates to personal development, emotional balance. Okay? I watch a few YouTubers consistently, okay? And I'm not going to give them names right now because that's not relevant. What's relevant is that these YouTubers have a huge following, okay? Or what I would consider a huge following, because I have like 2 followers, okay? That's me and my husband. But anyway, I noticed that these people, they have, like 30,000, 40,000, those level of listeners. And in order to have that type of viewership in my eyes, you have to have a whole lot of personal balance, a whole lot of, and when I say personal balance, I mean personal balance. You are comfortable with yourself, who you are, the person you are. You're personally comfortable enough with yourself to share yourself with the world. And people are comfortable enough to receive what it is that you're giving. And so I think that that's personally balanced. Okay. And I've noticed that these people have been dropping stuff. Okay. Whatever that it is that they're doing, some kind of way during that video, they're dropping things. They may be dropping their phone. They may be tipping over their mic. They may be trying to read their notes. And then all of a sudden, their notes are falling and flying all across the room. It's very comical. But it's also, you ever look at something or experience something and then it makes you kind of say, what was that? You kind of like tilt your head and you're looking at it. You're like, huh. Because you intuitively know that there's more going on there than just a random, mess up. And the YouTubers that I'm looking at, they are doing that. They're not really just like tickle pink or, just like, oh my God, I'm dropping stuff. They're not perturbed either. They're not like, oh man, I'm dropping stuff. They're looking like, what was that? Did you see that? I just dropped that. Oh my God, I'm knocking stuff over. And it's been going on, I would say, I've been watching this pattern now for about 2 weeks. And the funny thing about this is that it's been happening to me too. I've been just dropping stuff. I can tell you, I even look at my family members. I have an adult daughter who came in the house, went in the refrigerator, and it literally looked like I watched her hand and her arm no longer be controlled by her. It was like she was a droid or something, and something did put in the wrong input, and her software and system just didn't work right, and so her arm was like, and she knocked over a bunch of stuff in the refrigerator. This, the look on her face, I looked at her face, and she was like, what? How did that happen? And I thought about it. I said I could do that thing people do when we look at each other, just get totally clumsy and our bodies just not act right, and then we just leave the person in their privacy and we just let them process it on their own, and then we don't say anything. But because I had been watching so many people do this and I had come to a determination about what that meant, I said something to my daughter, and I'm going to stop that story right now because I'm going to share with you what I think this means. I think energetically we are all in a pattern where we're not physically able to operate our bodies and interface with other things the way that we used to. It's like energetically, you don't quite feel maybe rooted in your body or rooted with what your hands are doing or where you're walking necessarily. And all of a sudden, things are going really awry. And you're looking at it thinking, because everybody knows inside of them that what's happening on the outside is happening on the inside. So like sometimes if you're nervous, you will drop things. Or if you're insecure about being in a certain place, you may knock things over. You're around people you might not be real comfortable with. You're unsettled, and all of a sudden you're tripping as you're trying to walk across the room. So we have enough of these type of emotions that we've experienced, and then watch the emotion play itself out in something that's happening physically. So we know that there's a story, but we're inside, like for instance, the YouTubers or myself or my daughter in that moment, we're in a moment where we're not feeling the normal things we used to feel prior to these klutzy episodes. We're not necessarily nervous. We're not insecure. We're not feeling any of the things that usually accompany being physically unbalanced. And so when we're doing it, we're kind of like thinking about it because it's like, what is going on? It's not like it's the first time, that you just did something weird in weeks, or months or what have you. And then you're just kind of like not thinking about it because you acknowledge the fact that human bodies, we just kind of get goofy sometimes. We don't think that hard about it. We just keep it moving. You're actually starting to question it. Your head is tilted to the side like, how did I do that? And it's a little funny, but then you kind of get right back to it because there's a question. You're not going to spend a lot of time, laughing or kind of giggling at this like, oh, wow, what was that? No, because you're like, man, something like this happened yesterday or something like this happened 3 days ago. And you're starting to be like, what is the meaning of this? And I think the meaning of it is that we're in a space now, so many things happening to us, so many experiences, so much news, so much interactions between nations or companies or governments and companies or people and other random people. Everything relationally is just busy as all get out. Okay, it's just so much busyness, and you're looking at things that are unprecedented. Like for instance, a lot of the things that are happening with this presidential 4-year period term, this presidential term, is you're seeing so many things that you've never seen before. You're witnessing so much that you never experienced or thought you would experience, or even understand how you could be experiencing it. It's shocking. When you look at business, you look at a lot of the things that the government is saying about businesses, on local levels all the way up to federal levels. The type of interactions you're watching people have. Like we recently just had in the news, a woman in front of her building feeling like a man that was coming into the building was not supposed to be in the building. And she blocked him entrance into what actually was his own apartment complex as well. And she, what I would consider, harassed him all the way, because eventually he after repeatedly asking her, could she please move out of his way, that he needed to go into his house, he eventually said, I'm going to enter my own space now. I've asked you repeatedly to move, and so now I'm getting ready to move forward. And he's videotaping all of this while it's happening. and he moves past her, and then he goes and gets in the elevator. She follows him into the elevator, and she goes all the way up with him to where he is supposed to live, saying that she doesn't believe that he lives there, and that she's going to look and see what apartment does he go to, so that she can let the building authorities know that he's entering the building and he's not supposed to enter the building. And he actually opens up the door with his key and says, "I'm going into my apartment now, and don't ever do this again." And then he stops taping it. I never in my life thought that I would ever see a woman feel comfortable enough to police a man and suggest that she is concerned with her safety and whether or not he should be in the building, and that she's taking it up on herself to police him, all the way up until she's in an elevator with him, all the way up till she's standing in front of his residence. That to me is not the type of behavior that I ever thought I would see a woman have, because I think that women know that it's dangerous to try to police men, and particularly if you're concerned about whether he should or should not be somewhere, then getting on an elevator with him would be the last thing that you would do. And definitely exiting the elevator and trying to walk near the apartment he's getting ready to enter, all that just seems like crazy. Like, no, that would never happen. If you told me that, I would be like, no, that's not normal. Women don't do that. So I just thought I would give that story out. If you haven't seen it, Google it, look it up. I don't know how you would look it up, but I do know, I think it was on CBS. CBS aired this. But, that's just a little fun sidebar. But to get back to the point, we're looking at things that don't make any sense, okay? And you can't spend a lot of time thinking hard about all this senseless stuff. You just kind of look at it like, huh? You do the same thing. Your head kind of turns to say, like, what? I don't get this. What is going on? And so you are energetically, in your emotions, you're constantly doing that. And so your experience is not solid. It's not grounded. Right now, you kind of like in a transitory space where everything around you it almost looks like you're in a Salvador Dali painting. And if you don't know who Salvador Dali is, he's a surrealist, okay? He is a master at painting in the genre of surrealism. So this is where everyday objects are painted into weird spaces, locations, shapes, and the whole art is not even real at all. It's like you're looking at an image that's not real. It's surreal, okay? And Salvador Dali paintings, they typify what I feel that I'm experiencing right now. I feel like I am in a surreal reality, and none of this could be really real. And so because that's the way we feel emotionally, it's coming out physically, because our paradigm is crumbling. We're having a paradigm shift. You're like, what? Huh? What I understood to be reality is totally shifting. It's not real anymore. Huh? How did that just happen? And so I think this is a fantastic experience. This is a great experience. And I think that it exists in all time frames. I don't want it to sound like this space that I'm describing is something that's unique to just this moment, even though it is unique in this moment because it's this moment. But it's not unique in the experience that life is. There will always be spaces where things just aren't feeling concrete. Things aren't very grounded. Things don't feel real to you because things are shifting and things are changing. You're evolving. You are changing. And so sometimes you just fall into this space. And so my suggestion is that since this is where we are right now as a collective, as a group, as a people, we're in this fumbly, odd stage where you're just dropping everything. So what I'm suggesting that you do is go with the flow. And a lot of things that you are really feeling and trying to think hard about and figure out, or maybe frustrating you right now, just drop it. Just drop it. Okay? Because you're going to drop it anyway. Everything's dropping anyway. Everything's falling out of your hands anyway. Just drop it. And what I mean is, take a moment, kind of pull back, and just see what's happening. Look at what's happening. And don't try to fix anything. Just let everything be. Just accept it and say, this is a transitory space I'm in. Things are kind of clumsy. Maybe I'll just slow down. Maybe I'll just relax. I'll just drop it. And I'll pick up things that are concrete, things that do have value, things that, and when I say value, I don't want to make light of this. This is a valuable space. But when I say things that have value, what I mean is things that can result in an outcome that is favorable. For instance, like perhaps maybe just sitting down and reading a book, or maybe going and doing maybe some activity that you enjoy, like maybe, go to an event, maybe go to see a concert or something. Just kind of drop it. Drop everything that's just a struggle and that you're struggling to hold on to. Just drop it. And then focus on something different for a little while. Focus on something that feels real. Like maybe your breath. Or maybe your cat's purr. Or maybe your dog's tail. You get where I'm going with this, okay? It's got to be something that is not complex, not complicated. Maybe you will get to fumbling around if you do something a little too complex. Take a moment. Now, clearly, if what you're wrestling with is something very big or very complex, like, a life issue, like your career or your marriage or your relationships with your children or a significant other, that those sort of things, right? You're not going to be able to just completely drop it. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not saying, unless that's what you feel compelled to do, but I'm not saying just drop it. Just drop your relationships. Just drop it all and fly headlong into anything that makes you feel good. No, I'm talking about even if it's just an hour that day. If you just say, I'm going to start saying for 1 hour a day, I'm going to drop this topic. I'm not going to let all these thoughts keep creeping into my brain and stuff, because let's be real, I can barely keep holding things in my hand, or I can barely, operate physically in a manner that is balanced or grounded. So I'm going to at least give my mind, my emotions, give it a break. I'm going to drop it for a while. And when I drop it for that hour, I have to do something that I enjoy. That and that has a positive. Now, I'm not saying go, be self-abusive. I'm not saying that. Don't go do anything that just because it's fun and then you can end up, with negative consequences. No, I'm talking about pick up something that's, has the capacity to bring you balance and centeredness and laughter and joy and also just is simple. It's just simple. And maybe it changes every day. Maybe you just say for an hour, I'm going to just sit down, look out this window. It's such a pretty view. And then I'll just relax and just let my, energy wander and just look at this. Whatever it is, so maybe you like to make jewelry. Maybe you'll get your beads and sit down and, string them together and make some pretty jewelry. Or maybe you like to paint. You get my point here. Just do something else for a little while. If you're lucky and you have a whole day that you could do it for a whole day. You're gonna be off. You can do it for a whole day. Do it for a whole day. But I know for a lot of moms and parents, you may not be able to take that type of time because you have things that you need to do. So even if it's 10 minutes an hour, say 10 minutes an hour, I'm just gonna do this or what have you. You make the choice. But in the end, just drop it. Okay. And now I'm going to pick back up. When my daughter was reaching in the refrigerator and I saw what she was dealing with, I decided not to just let her, have her privacy in that klutzy moment, that I would actually get involved. So I said, "Oh, I see your arms. Your arm is just doing what it wants to do." She laughed. We had a lot of fun with the topic. And she said, "This has been happening to me, all week." And I told her it's been happening to me too. And then I told her it's been happening to the YouTubers. And so basically, I suggested to her what I'm sharing with you, that we all just take a moment and we just drop it. Okay, just drop it. Relax. All right. Until next time, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Talk to the World. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to have more videos from me on this topic, then please hit the like and subscribe. And I want for you to always remember to be yourself. All right?